All right, so let me share my screen here again. Okay, so I'm going to jump right in. And I just have this as kind of the first official slide for the presentation tonight, because I kind of feel like if it ain't broke, don't fix it. We've all heard that before. And some of you on this, board here, some of you on this message, you have recruiting down. Some of you really, love it. You got a plan. What you're doing is working for you. If it is, that's fine. I'm not saying you have to change it. If it works, go for it. If you're recruiting like crazy, keep doing what you're doing. So I just wanted to throw that out there. And also, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. And I wanted to share that for me as well, because, there are a lot of different ways to recruit in this business. There are a lot of different tactics. There are a lot of different tips. There are a lot of different avenues that you can use. But for me, it works. And that's what I'm going to share tonight. And I've been doing pretty much the same thing, or, tweaking it a little bit here and there, but very similar, just base to what I do, again, for the better part of 10 years. And so again, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. So that's kind of how I feel about it. So again, you may have heard some of these things before. You may have never heard. You may hear other things that people do, but this is just something I want to share that works for me. So you're probably thinking, where do I begin? If you don't know anything about recruiting, where do I begin? I'm going to first start off and say parties. Parties. It is super important to have a consistent party schedule when you want to start recruiting, because statistically you have to be in front of a certain amount of women to end up being able to have enough women to share the opportunity with. Because statistically you'll get 7 to 10 no's before you'll get a yes. Maybe even a little higher when it comes to sponsoring. So you have to be in front of women consistently sharing the opportunity to start getting people. And I love this. This is what Dana Barish says in her funnel. So if you think of a funnel, it's big on the top, and then, it gets smaller and smaller and tapers down. And eventually, you're going to have someone fall into that funnel, but you need to have a lot of girls spinning around in that funnel, and eventually some will fall, and they will fall. But the more girls you have in your funnel, the better off someone's going to, the chances of someone falling down through and signing and joining your team, the better off that's going to happen. So, all right. So parties. Definitely, if you're not happy with your recruiting, take a look at your sponsoring. Take a look at your party schedule and start there. And so let's start actually there with parties, because even if you have a consistent book of business, you still may not be getting the results that you want, and it's probably because of not what you're doing, but probably because of what you're saying. So let's just start talking about the opening of your party. So you want to thank your hostess profusely for opening her home and getting us all there for a fun night. You want to explain how the party works. You'll be coming around to touch and taste and feel and smell. They can use your catalog and their wish list to create, their list, whatever they want. I always say this, my job is to show you the best. The catalog will show you the rest. Tell them ask lots of questions. Tell them shopping is done privately and 100% confidential. And tell them that the hostess is getting a free shopping spree. Definitely. And share your hostess program with them. Super important to share all of that. And then after you go through your opening, then I'd recommend sharing what I call your I story. And this is super, super important when it comes to sponsoring and adding women to your team and helping you earn that March incentive, because you want to share how you got into the business. And this is a great place to start. So if you don't know where to start, jot this down. You want to tell everybody, why do you love Pure Romance? Why does your family love your business? What have you done with your Pure Romance income? What are you currently working towards? What does the average consultant earn at a party? And what do they do if they're interested in more info? So if this were me standing up here and saying this and I was a brand new consultant, it could sound something like this. It could be like, all right, ladies, well, my name is Corinne, and I just want to tell you, I am really in love with Pure Romance. And that's one of the reasons why I started this business and I'm standing in front of you today. I love it because I went to a party and I was just amazed at all the information I found out, the knowledge, the laughter I got to have with my friends, and really the opportunities it can offer me as a wife and a mom. And I sat there at my first party and I saw the consultant doing that and I thought, heck, I can do that too. and, bring in extra money for my family. And that's one thing my family does love, is that it does bring extra money in for me because, my kids are in sports and activities, and sometimes that really breaks the bank. And so for me, just doing a few parties a month, I can really supplement our income to help with all those extracurricular things, maybe even going out to dinner, taking the kids for ice cream. And so they love it when I go to a party because they know that means we can do more as a family. And those are the things that I've done with my income. I've, like I said, helped supplement my family. And, I'm not going to lie, I might have done a little, manis and petties for me too. But what I'm currently working for right now is a trip to Cancun. Our company rewards us for just doing a great job. And right now I'm working towards a trip to Cancun, and I'm so excited to be here with you ladies because you're going to help me get that tonight. You're helping me work towards that, and I'm so appreciative. And I just, if you're sitting here thinking, gosh, maybe I could do that too, I'll be happy to give you some more information, because the average consultant can make about $800 a month just by doing a few parties a month. Could anybody in the room use an extra $800? And see if they raise their hand. So that's just a quick story. You can elaborate as your business grows, but start somewhere. So if you're not telling a story at your party, sharing a little bit about yourself, definitely change that, because what you're doing is you're creating a buying environment, and you want that, because you want people to relax, you want people to trust you, and you want people to feel comfortable. And if they think you're just trying to sell to them, they're going to see right through that. But just create that buying environment. Set up that time to let people get to know you and relate to you. That's what's so great about your iStory, is that it helps people relate. So this is a little thing you can throw in. I just wanted to throw this in at the end of your iStory, and you can talk about how fantastic Pure Romance has been and what it's done for you. But you could say something like this: because this business has been so life-changing for me, I'm going to send you home with some information about our income opportunity. Now, obviously, don't say that if you're not going to do it, but what you would send home with them is just the opportunity brochure that you can get on the business supplies. Just send that home with them and put it in their bag and say that. Say this again. Because this business has been so life-changing for me, I'm going to send you home with this tonight. Let me know if you look over it. Let me know if you have any questions. Say it again in the shopping room, and you put it in the bag and let them see you do that. So that's a great way, because there are people in this business that have never told the consultant she wanted to become a consultant. I never told my consultant. I never circled, yes, I want to become a consultant, or check the box or anything like that. Nope, not at all. But if someone had sent me home with some information, I might have looked at it, but she didn't. So I contacted her a year later. So that's an optional, fun little thing to say, but only if you are going to put that in the bag. Now, why is this all important? Why am I sitting here talking about your opening and your iStory and all of this? Why is this important? And how does this apply to sponsoring? But here's why it is so important. Because couple little notes here I want you to pay attention to. A person's first impression of you is made within the first 2 minutes of you talking. Seriously, they size you up by the way you look, by the way you talk, by the way you dress, everything. They will make a decision about you in the first impression within the first 2 minutes of you opening your mouth. It's their impression of you that will decide whether they will do future business with you. That's booking or recruiting. So if they don't like the way you look, the way you sound, the way you carry yourself, anything like that, they're not going to want to book a party with you and invite you into their home. And they're certainly not going to want to join your team. So be conscious of that. And it is a fact that women say no at least twice before they say yes. And that's either verbally or in their mind. So what we want to do is we want to pull those no's out in the opening, in your iStory, and at least one during the party. So when you get to the shopping room, they're more likely to get a yes. So what I mean by that is when I say you want to pull no's, you want to constantly say, I'm hiring. I say that all the time at my party. Y'all, this is my job. This is awesome. I'm hiring. Here's the good news. I'm hiring. You can do this too. I'm saying it so many times so they can mentally in their mind go ahead and say, no, I'm not going to do that. No, nope. But then I say it a couple more times. I talk about it through the party. You know what I mean? And they're going to soften and they go, well, maybe I could, because I've already pulled those no's. So keep that in mind. All right, let's talk about recruiting packets. What to include, because when you're in the shopping room with someone and they say, yes, I would like to get some more information, because I firmly believe you should ask everybody coming in the shopping room a magic question. And it's, can I ask you, have you ever thought about doing what I do? Ask that first before you take their order and before you ask them about a party. hey, have you ever thought about doing what I do? And they'll go, oh, no. Okay, well, we should book a party and have fun anyway. You might at least get a party out of it. And if she says no to that, then you're going to go ahead and order. Okay? Hopefully that order makes sense to you. But if she says, yes, I have thought about it, what you want to do is you want to give her a packet to send home. Now, I know not all consultants send home packets. It works for me. It may not work for everybody, but this is what works for me. You can get a folder off the business supplies, or you can just go to Walmart, get black folders, pink folders, whatever works. I put a Avery mailing label up at the top, a pretty good size one, and it says, I can't wait to talk to you about Pure Romance. Our scheduled appointment time is, and there's a line. I print out a whole sheet of them, and I stick them to the folder. So I have them all ready to go for my party. And then when they tell me their appointment, I write it on the folder. Inside that folder, very simple. Ladies, a confused mind says no. Do not overwhelm them and put a welcome letter and a price list and a this and a that. And like, you know, I don't know. I don't believe in overwhelming them in the recruiting packet. So the folder, inside the folder, put the kit comparison, print it out in color, not black and white. You want to look professional. The opportunity brochure, which is sitting right here, you can see that. And then set the appointment. Okay, so when you're setting the appointment, here's what you want to do. You want to ask open-ended questions when setting the appointment and stay in control of the process. And so what I mean by that is if someone is in the shopping room and they are going to take home some information and it's a Friday night, okay? So I'm going to look at her and I'm going to say, okay, great. Well, here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to give you this information. It's meant to generate questions. And I'm going to give you a call over the next couple of days to help you explore if Pure Romance could be a good fit for you. Does that sound good? And they're like, usually, always, yes, that sounds great. Okay, great. Well, what works best for you, Monday or Tuesday? Or if it's Friday, let's say, what works best, Saturday or Sunday? And she'll go, Sunday. Okay, great. Morning or afternoon? Afternoon. Okay, great. Well, I think, would it be all right if I call you between 1 and 3? Give her a window. And the reason I'm saying that is because you don't want to say, okay, now what works best for you to talk for a few minutes? She'll go, I don't know. I'll just give you a call after I look it over. Or, I don't know. I don't know. Next week sometime. You want to strike when the iron is hot. You do not want to give it more than 24 to 48 hours before you follow up with her. No longer than that. So 24 to 48 hours. That's why you're always asking to, if it's Friday, Saturday, or Sunday. You want to write the scheduled time on the folder and then put it in your phone. So put it in your calendar, whatever works, but put it in your phone and set a reminder so it goes off, 5 minutes before you're supposed to call her. I like to give a window too, because if I'm crazy with my kids, I can snooze it on my phone and it'll alert me again. This is important. Program your number in her phone, because then I look at her and I'm like, so let me ask, if you don't recognize the number, do you not answer? Are you one of these? And she usually is like, yes. And I look at her typically and go, it's okay to say yes. And so we program my number and my name in her phone right then and there, so she knows it's me when I'm calling. And obviously call during the scheduled window of time. So now what do we say when we call and she says, hi, hello, and she answers the phone? So it's really simple, ladies. It's 3 questions. You don't need to overthink it. You don't need to vomit Pure Romance on her. Again, a confused mind always says no. When she first answers, obviously, hi, how are you? Are you having a good weekend or whatever? Having a good day? I hope you're enjoying all the goodies from the party. You can get to know her. Like, before we get started, do you mind if I get to know you a little bit? You can ask her about her family, her kids, her work. You can make some small talk there and get to know her before you just dive right in. But then when you've gone through all that, here are the 3 questions, okay? So number 1 is, what excites you when you think about owning your own Pure Romance business? Because excite is a power word, okay? That is a power word, and you want to use that. And what you're doing right there, ladies, is you're finding out her why. And this is super important because we all know you have to have a strong why, to get through this business. You have to have something that pushes you and that excites you. So when you ask her that, you're not going, why do you want to do this? You're saying, what excites you when you think about owning your own Pure Romance business? And she's going to tell you, I want to get out of debt, or I want to be a stay-at-home mom, or I want to pay off student loans, or, I just don't want to be mommy. I want something of my own. I want to save for this, save for that, save for my kids' college, whatever it is, find out her why. Find out why she needs this business. You want to find out what's important to them, and then let her know how this business can help her. Because one of the biggest problems people make when they talk about joining the business, they talk about all the details. They talk about, oh my gosh, well, our comp plan is fantastic and you can earn all this extra money and we can earn these trips. And when you sign up with me, we have these meetings and we do this and we do that. Like, blah, blah, blah. She doesn't care about that. She does not care. She wants to know what it can do for her. Because ladies, you want to sell the destination, not the airplane. Think about that. You don't want to sell her the airplane. You're not selling her the vehicle to do it. You want to sell her that destination. So if it's get out of debt, you want to tell her that with Pure Romance, you could say something like, or let's say she's a single mom and she misses her kids. You could say, Pure Romance helps moms like you have more quality time so you won't feel guilty for missing important moments in your kids' lives. Like you're tapping in, so you're telling her what it will do for her and how she will feel. That's important. Okay? So again, if she's a single mom, or not even a single mom, if she's just a mom that's really busy, Pure Romance helps moms like you have more quality time with your family so you won't feel guilty for missing the important moments in your kids' lives. So if it's getting out of debt, you can do a turnaround. Pure Romance helps women like you be able to earn great income by making your own schedule and helping you pay off debt sooner so you won't feel strapped and tied down in 5 years from now and in the same position you're in by having all this credit card debt over your head. We want you to feel free. Pure Romance can do that for you. So again, just think about that when you're asking about her why. Explain the benefits, and not all the details. It should be 80% benefits and 20% details. I hope that makes sense to you. All right. Let's see. Next one. So you go through all of that, right? You go through all of what she says excites you. Write it down. This is her why. She's telling you her why. You want to know this. So after she tells you and you dream with her and you get her excited and tell her how she's going to feel when she reaches that dream, then you want to say, is there anything standing in your way from giving Pure Romance a try? And this is key because you want to invite her objections. Objections are a gift, ladies. Seriously, don't shy away from them. Don't freak out like, oh my gosh, I don't know what to say. If she, tells me, she doesn't have enough time. You want objections because you want to be able to address them, put them in their proper place, and move on. Okay? So seriously, it is a gift. So whatever she says that is an objection, let's say she doesn't have enough time. Well, by the way, first of all, if they say money is the first thing I take off the plate, because money is the very easy objection that they go with. But usually there's more to it if they're not doing it. So if she says, oh, money, I'm like, okay, well, let's pretend you have all the money in the bank to buy your kit. Not a problem. What else is standing in your way? And then you get really down to like brass tacks. You get down to like, she'll be like, well, I'm kind of nervous about booking parties. And then you can address that and you can say, and I love feel, felt, found. I can understand why you would feel that way because I felt the same way when I got started. I was really nervous about booking parties, but what I found is that there are great training that our company offers. And I also found that ladies really love having these parties. And yes, I have to ask, and yes, I have to put myself out there, but what I have found is there are always women out there that want to do parties with us because after all, first of all, it's really fun and it's not a Tupperware party. It's not a Pampered Chef party. It's not, a makeup party. It's, a party of bath and beauty and romance and all of that. And women really, really, really flock to it and they love it. And aside from all of that, there's phenomenal training of how you can get parties on the books, who you should call, what you should say, we offer it all in this great program called Party School. So I understand you feeling that way, but if you go through our training, it's really going to help you, get to where you want to be. If it's time, address time. Well, the great thing about Pure Romance is that you can make your own schedule. So whether you want to do 2 parties a month or 10 parties a month, you choose that. So you make it work around your schedule, and you do parties on the days that you can work. Really, there's always a way around. For the most part, there are objections. And if it's money, after all said and done, brainstorm about how she can earn it. Brainstorm about if she can sell things, if she can have a garage sale, if she can borrow it from a friend or a family member, if she can use the PayPal credit option. Brainstorm with her. All right. And then the third and final question is, in a perfect world, when would you like to get paid? And that is when, the rubber hits the road, so to speak, because if you've addressed all her objections, and I always ask after I address objections, like, did we address that okay? Did that make you feel better? Like, does that help? And and usually she's like, yeah, that's good, And so then I'm like, okay, in a perfect world, when do you want to get paid? And usually they're like, now. So that is when I jump in and I go, okay, well, it's super easy to get started. If you have a few more minutes, if you don't mind, I'd love to share with you about how you get started and a little bit of information about our starter kits. So I'll go into that in a second. But sometimes, does anybody ever get this dreaded after you've gone through everything, this dreaded statement? You've gone through everything. She's like, nope, I'm good. Oh my gosh, I'm excited. Yep. And you're like, okay, well, let's get you started. Then she'll go, well, I think I need to think about it. Right? So how can we overcome having to think about it? And this works great. I've used this for years. I heard this at the beginning of my career with Pure Romance, and I've used it for years, and it always helps. So here it is. If you want to write it down, take a picture with your phone. But this is what you say when she says, I need to think about it. I'm in the business of helping people. If you tell me yes, I want to become a consultant, we'll get you started. I'll be your biggest cheerleader and support you every step of the way. If you tell me no, I'll respect your decision, schedule a party with you, and we'll have a great time anyway. But when you tell me I need to think about it, I don't really know how to help. Do you mind if we explore a little further what exactly you need to think about? Because sometimes ladies, they think they have told you all their objections and they haven't. And when you say that, then like, well, I'm a little nervous about what my parents will think. Like sometimes you get an extra one that she held back, that she wasn't ready to share with you. So that is a great way to overcome the I need to think about it, the dreaded I need to think about it statement. So then you can move on and you can talk about kits, okay? So I'm going to try to do this as quickly as possible, but I think it's super important when you're talking about kits that you start with the best, which is the premium, and you show value here, okay? You've already talked about her feelings and what Pure Romance can do for you, but this is where you want to show value. So I'm going to pretend right now that I'm talking to a potential. So I'm going to say, all right, well, we have 3 different starter kits. We have the premium, the deluxe, and the standard. Now with the premium kit, it's a great kit. It has almost $3,000 worth of product in it, and it's on sale for blank, whatever the sale price is at the time, okay? It's on sale for only blank right now. But let me tell you a little bit about what's in this. So if you remember at the party, that you were at, you remember I had a demo table set up, and then you came into a shopping room and I had inventory to sell. And she'll say, yes. So basically in the premium kit, you definitely get a demo kit. You get something to, show. It's like you get all the testers, okay? So you get a demo kit, and then you get actually a ton of inventory, It was in the information I sent home with you. If you have it in front of you, you can look at it. If not, no big deal. So you get demo and inventory. Now, on top of that, you start off at a 45% buying discount. So what that means is, let's say you go do a $1,000 party. You're at a 45% buying discount, so you make 45% of everything you sell. So if you go do a $1,000 party, you're going to make $450 in a few hours. Does that make sense? So I always ask her, does that make sense? And sometimes she'll go, yeah. And then sometimes they'll go, well, I'm like, okay, so basically you go to a $1,000 party, you make 45% is your profit. So the other part of the party, you would reinvest in inventory and replenish everything you sold. And the other part you would put in your pocket. I sometimes have to explain that a few times, but usually they get it, if not right away, after another time explaining it. And I'll say, and you also have automatic activation with that kit. You're an automatic active consultant and you have that 45% buying discount. And then I'll say, okay, and then we have the Deluxe kit. And the Deluxe kit is our middle kit. And I will tell you, that is what most women purchase that join my team. It is a really popular kit. It's a great kit, and most women do that one. So if you can't afford the premium, the Deluxe is a great option. It is very similar to the premium. It just has a little bit less. So it has about $1,200 worth of product in it, and it's on sale for only blank, whatever the sale price is. And you definitely get a demo kit basically in that, and you also have inventory. You just don't have as much in the premium as you would in the premium. So you get demo and inventory. So you have stuff to sell at your first party, which is key. You are still at that 45% buying discount, and you are still an active consultant. So right off the bat from day one. Then we have the standard kit. Now, the standard kit is different from the Deluxe and the premium because it only has about $450 worth of product in it. It does not, unfortunately, have any inventory in that kit. It only has a small group of products to demonstrate. So you would definitely have to supplement with that kit. I would recommend sooner rather than later. And you are also at a lower buying discount with that kit. You're only at 40% versus the 45. So do you see why, and because here's the thing, like if you go do that same $1,000 party, you'd only make $400 versus the $450. So you'd be doing the same job and making less money. So do you see why most women end up doing the Deluxe or the premium kit? And usually she's like, yeah, I do see that. And then sometimes I will say, definitely say, let them know that they only have one opportunity to buy a kit, because so many women get that confused, and because they'll think they can buy the standard now, and then a month later they'll go, okay, well, I'll just get the premium when I have a little bit more money. It doesn't work that way. So I make sure I let them know you only have one opportunity to buy a kit. That's why I'm really stressing the importance of picking the right one for you and your family, because you only have one opportunity. So once you buy a kit, that's it. You can't come back and buy another one and get a higher buying discount. So I always make sure I let them know that too. So hopefully that helps you talk about kits, but just keep it simple, but just show the value. Show them that financially it makes more sense to go ahead and do the Deluxe because they have inventory and a demo kit. They have a demo kit and already inventory, and how they will have product to give at their first party, and they will not have to go turn around and mail as much out. So I always explain that too. All right, so let's sign them up. So if they say, yes, I'm ready, this is how I sign them up. I always stay in control of the process, ladies. Super important, because women that are not familiar with direct sales, they do not understand the importance of teams, and they don't understand what signing a girl up does for us and why that's so important. So I always stay in control of the process myself. And I'm on the phone with her, and I'm like, oh, okay, great. And I literally go to my own website, as you see here. I go to my own website. I click on the Join My Team button and click. I think there's a few other things you have to click through, put the zip code in. And then the bottom screen here, I show that, right? The Deluxe kit, whatever she picked, put the zip code in and do checkout now. And then while I'm on the phone with her, I literally just ask her questions. I'm like, all right, I just gonna have to ask you a few questions. It'll take just a minute. So, her first name, can I get your social security number? And sometimes people will go, why do you need my social? Like they'll get real, defensive of that. And I'm like, well, you are getting a job. So just like if you were going to get any job and filling out the paperwork on the first day, you would have to give your social. And usually people are like, oh, okay. They get that. It's interesting because people don't look at this as a real job sometimes. And that I think is kind of cool that you're showing them, like, you're going to get a job right now. So we need your, information for tax purposes. Driver's license number. And then literally I just ask her everything, your shipping address, your mailing address, the credit card information, your date of birth, email, cell phone, all of that. You put it all right here. It's as easy as that. And then I check the box, yes, and hit submit. And do you see up at the top, it says you're shopping with Corinne Kinshirf? Make sure it always says your name. You're shopping with whomever you are. If it does not say that, go back in and do it again, because you want to definitely make sure that you are getting her on your team and staying in control of that process, because it's a super big headache if you have to switch someone. If you say, here, just go on pureromance.com, find my name, and half the time they'll do it wrong, and you want to make sure they get on your team. So with that, I know I talked really fast and I covered a lot of information, but I'm going to stop sharing my screen and take some questions. So hold on. Let me look at the questions. Okay. I'm not sure what some of these, I only see one question, but I see yes and no and thanks, and I guess Nikki couldn't hear. Okay, but Jessica said to me, can you go over the feel, felt, found one more time? Yes, I will go through over the feel, felt, found. So basically, if someone is nervous, excuse me one second. If someone is nervous about saying like, I'm just giving an example. I'm nervous about what my family will say. Okay, that's one of the things we're nervous about. And I can say, you know what? I understand how you feel, because before I got started, I was nervous about the same thing. I felt the same way. I was nervous, but I can tell you what I found was that, you know, my family was a lot more supportive than I thought they would be when I actually shared it with them in the right way. And I actually waited a little bit before I let them know too, just because I wanted to get, you know, more comfortable with my own business. I wanted to have a little success under my belt before I shared it with them. So I waited and I shared it with them, you know, before I got, you know, and I waited and shared it with them until I got successful. You know, I got some money under my belt and I could actually go and show them like, look, this is changing my life. I've already paid off this and this and this and this. So that's kind of the feel, felt, found. And it can go with anything. Like just, you can say, I understand how you feel. I felt the same way. Or if you didn't feel the same way, you can say, I had a girl on my team who felt the exact same way, but what she found was, so if it's not a situation that you personally could relate to, think of maybe someone else in the business that can, you know, that it related to. So, okay. So hold on. Someone says, what if you have a lady that says she needs to talk it over with her significant other? Oh, okay. Totally fine. I love this one. So if someone says that she's totally fine, she's ready, she's excited, but she wants to talk to her husband, totally valid, totally reasonable. I relate to her and say, absolutely, I understand that, no big deal. When do you think you'll be able to chat with him? I find out when they can talk, so maybe it's that evening or whatever, and be like, okay, well, great. Well, I will touch base with you again. Would this time tomorrow work for you? Definitely schedule the next time to talk. And before I let her go, I typically say, so how do you think he will feel about this? I try to gauge what his objections are going to be so I can arm her with the right verbiage to talk to him, because if I'm not going to be there to talk to him. So she'll say how he's going to feel. And I'm like, well, and sometimes I'll say, well, what questions do you think he will have? So then when she tells me questions she thinks he will have, then I can come back and say, well, this is what you should tell him. And I also offer to talk with him as well. So I'm like, if he wants to talk with me, I'll be happy to talk with him. And then I also offer my husband. I've offered my husband, I'm like, my husband would be happy to talk to your husband if he wants to talk to another husband. So that was from Jennifer. So Jennifer, that's how I handle that. And then Ashley, you said, how do you personally close the deal to sign them in the shopping room? So everybody does this a little differently. Some people do the Target analogy, which a lot of us have heard. I kind of pulled away from that a little bit, but basically I gauge the person. Like if they're jazzed up and they are like, oh my gosh, I so want to do this, I kind of throw it out casually. I don't do a pressure thing. And I'm like, well, hey, if this is something you really want to do, I mean, a lot of the stuff you want comes in the kit. If it's something you know you want to do, we can go ahead and get you a kit now and, go ahead and get you started. And then whatever you're not getting tonight, you can get 40% or 45% off, whichever kit they're getting. Anything else you want. And the girls that are really wanting to do it and that are serious about it are like, oh, okay, that makes sense to them. But sometimes they still don't want to, and that's fine. I don't pressure them. I just kind of throw it out casually just to gauge where they are. I know, and if they're like, oh, no, I got to talk to my husband. I'm like, of course, I know. It's no big deal. We can talk tomorrow. I just kind of really casual about it and gauge where they are. Did that answer your question? Yes. Hopefully. Any other questions? I think I answered them all. If I didn't, post them again. Oh, someone said hold on. Jennifer said hold on. I just changed the settings, ladies. So if you want to verbally ask me a question, you can take yourself off mute.
Okay, good. Because that was a long question I was about to ask. Okay. So if you're partying consistently from, like, say you start Friday night, you're talking with this girl, she's super excited, interested, you're not able to sign her on the spot, but you have a morning party Saturday and an evening party Saturday, and then you have a morning party Sunday, evening party Sunday, you're just completely booked throughout that weekend. Do you try to get in touch with them like sooner, like first thing in the morning, or do you wait until Monday, or how do you gauge that whole thing?
If you're doing 2 parties on a Saturday and 2 parties on a Sunday, congratulations.
I'm getting there, Corinne.
Congratulations. That's amazing. That's rare for me. I typically don't have 2 parties on a Sunday. I will have them on 2 on Saturday, but not on Sunday. But I also think of my own schedule. So, like, if we had, for instance, a team meeting on Sunday, right, and it's Friday, I would say to her, what works best to talk for about 15, 20 minutes, Saturday or Monday? I just leave out Sunday because I'm not available. And that's the great thing. I leave out what, or if I know I have it's my kid's birthday on a Saturday, I'm like, what works best, Sunday or Monday, if it's Friday? So that's how I handle it.
Okay. I just wasn't sure with it being such a big gap for it to get to be on Monday, because that's right now, if I can get all my April parties to book or hold, that's just about how my April looks like next month.
Dang, girl, look at
you. So, yeah, that bridal show really did help us. I was not joking with that. I wish I could show you a picture of it.
Congratulations. That's amazing. Awesome. Did I answer your question, though?
Yes, thank you.
Perfect. Jessica said, how often do you follow up with leads? Like rep leads, like recruiting leads, like if they don't answer my phone call, I'll usually put it in for the next day, like at the same time, and call them back again, or I'll text as well. I definitely put them in my VIP group. I would say, you can stay in touch. You don't have to necessarily stay in touch by calling them. I would call them definitely a few times, but if you're not getting anywhere, add them to your newsletter list, add them to your rep lead newsletter list. So if you send out something every month just to people that are interested in the business, put them on that list. Some people do a money train lounge. So they'll do like a group on Facebook, and it's called Jessica's Money Train or whatever. And it's only people in the group that want information, that have expressed interest in becoming a consultant. So they will keep seeing, you post about the sales, or you post about the business, or, anything the business has done for you. So that kind of thing. But I would definitely, 3-4 times before you just give up, And I've had women that I haven't heard from in years, and I've gone back a year later and sent a little message, and they're like, actually, yes, I am interested now. So you never know. I have women in this business that 3 years later, they come back to me and they end up becoming a consultant. So, all right. Nikki Hauser said she missed the beginning. Can you go over the incentive? Well, Nikki, if you're still on the incentive, the flyer is on our First Line group. It is on Team Southern Seducers. It is on this event. So it's pretty self-explanatory. It just, if we add 25 women to the team, between now and the end of March, and they have to activate by April 15th, I will be giving away the stay in Gatlinburg, and the winner has to have $1,000 in retail as well. Retail sales. All right. Any other questions? And be at the meeting. Yes. Who's mom? It's from mom, whoever mom is. I'm like, is my mother on here? Oh, it's Max. Like, I didn't think my mom was on the Zoom. Yes, and you have to be present to win at the meeting, unless you're over 100 miles away. All right. Any other questions? Look at us. We're getting done before 10. All right. Nothing else? You guys are good? Was this helpful? Yes, I can see nodding. I see, oh, look, pages of notes. Well, good. This is really, it was like a really quick and dirty but it's what I do. It's what I've done for almost 10 years. Just keep it simple. You don't have to overthink it. Don't throw up on them. Keep it simple. Ask the 3 questions. I even have a sheet I can fill out, and make sure you, again, show them value in what they're doing. Find out her why, and then explain the benefits, not the details. We think they want all the details, but they don't. I mean, they do, but they don't. They don't want to be overwhelmed, and they want to see how it can work for them. That's the thing. They don't care about the comp plan. And I mean, at the beginning, they don't care about any of that. So sell the destination, not the airplane. All right, ladies. Well, hold on. Do you have a form for follow-up, or how do you track the notes on the leads? Yes, I have a form I can post, and you can have one for every single girl that you talk to, and you can keep them in a folder, and then that's an easy way to go back. And you can, check off signed, or take them out of the folder if they signed, and if not, you can keep them in the folder, and you can always go back every couple months and follow up with these people. So yeah, I can post that. And it's just a one form. That literally asks the 3 questions, where you can take the notes and kind of get to know them, and circle if they're like a domestic diva, or they work outside the home, or how many kids they have. And you can, write all of that down, and then keep all of those. So, all right. Anything else? All right. Well, it looks like I answered everything. Thank you, ladies. I seriously want to thank you, because, so many women do not take the time out to learn more about the business. And I applaud you guys all for taking the time. I know you all could be doing better things tonight at 9 o'clock, almost 10 o'clock, but the fact that you took the time and you reinvested in yourself and your business, I know it means a lot to me, and it's going to hopefully pay off for you ladies if you put these things into practice and into play. So I will see, hopefully, you guys next week at our sisterhood event. And